I have a Zoe TF elusives list. I'm rank 7 EU right now if you want to try. Yeah, Zoe TF sounds good. I'll check it out. So this is N3RDO1's Zoe elusives. Okay. So no Giddy. Sparkle, Pool, pretty light on the Bilgewater tools. 1 Pocket. Zap, Burblefish, 1 Sunburst, 2 Mentor. This looks good. This looks refined. Like, I'm sure, like, as with all decks, if I played this, I'd eventually change a couple of cards, but in this case, I don't think it would be more than a couple. This looks good. It's more of a TF combo deck. Yeah, and I think that's kind of what puts it ahead. Like, at the end of the day, elusives can't just be elusives, right? It's like, you can run elusives as a side to Burn. You can run elusives as a side to Fiora, like I did, or you can run elusives as a side to, like, TF. Like, as long as they're kind of, like, being a sort of hybrid to something else, something powerful, like one of those 3 things. I think it might just be those 3 things, by the way. Then they can make sense as a concept. Let's say I wanted to fit in a second Pilfered Goods. I actually don't know what the cut here would be. I could see it being like a Pool Shark or something. These Nab cards are actually kind of good with Zoe too, as weird as that is, because they will always generate unique card names and they discount, so it's like really cheap. This could, I mean, there's a chance this is the return of Nab. I'll try it. These decisions are gonna look weird. If you guys didn't play during when Nab was like the craziest thing in the game, like in multiple back-to-back patches, but like back then, I mean, we were running like Pilfered Goods over Salvage because it was so much cheaper. And yeah, I mean, it does feel like this is kind of... Oh yeah, Make It Rain getting nerfed was also a big deal for Nab. Nab, I think a lot of people think that Nab kind of like died when it got nerfed. Nab stuck around for a while. It kind of like, it took a while to die. Like, it was kind of the culmination of a lot of nerfs happening at once. Like, even Make It Rain getting nerfed was that, like, Nab was still kind of around before that happened. And, like, it was around that time with just, like, the culmination of Bilgewater nerfs overall. And it's, like, a little bit hard to deal Nexus damage. Can't keep Croaker in the opening hands. I think I'll keep 1 Sparklefly here. Sparklefly is really non-essential. I just kind of want something to not just like let the Zoe hit me several turns in a row. I think it was probably correct to mulligan Sparklefly. Please explain why Gohard is overrated. So Gohard, the deck archetype, is very good. I don't even, I hesitate to use the word overrated specifically, even though I have used that word in the past. It's mostly like, people's idea of that deck is it like always wins off of drawing Gohard. So he's looking for Snake here on the 37%. He probably hit it too. Feel like he hit it. Nice. I don't know. I think a lot of people's impression of that deck is it's like, it's an all-in deck that's built to just cycle for Gohard and win the game off of a busted card. And that's not what that deck is at all. It's not all-in. It's not even close to all-in. It's not even close to all-in. Like, Gohard is how that deck wins some of its games. And don't get me wrong, it's kind of the perfect fit for the TF archetype. And it's, in all likelihood, it is the best TF deck. Those are all true. Gohard is not really a broken card. It's very powerful, and it happened to fit perfectly with a deck that needed exactly that. Like, you guys have to understand exactly what happened. Like, TF archetype was an extremely powerful archetype that kind of lost some of its tools. It lost, like, some of the Nab package, and most importantly, it lost its anti-aggro. Like, losing stuff like Make It Rain, suddenly we're losing to aggro decks. Like, Gohard just so perfectly fit into what that archetype needed that it just makes sense as a deck. But I guess what I'm saying is that I think a lot of people are underrating how little they have to nerf Gohard itself. You could argue that they could nerf the Bilgewater, one or two things on the Bilgewater side and not nerf the Shadow Wall side, and it would be totally fine. I don't know if I'd say that exactly, but what I would say is I do think people are overstating how much Gohard the card itself needs to be directly nerfed. Like, I've heard some ridiculous suggestions like make it 2 mana, which I think partially that's just people not understanding how big of a nerf that would be, but also it's, yeah, I mean, it's just not like, it's not the powerhouse there. I guess I'm just passing. I don't know. Sorry for kind of roping a bit. It's hard to like multitask when I'm talking a lot. Yeah, so I want to play Zap. I don't want to bank full mana going to the next turn, so Zap there looks good. Wow, this actually could be that Moonsilver spot. I like Moonsilver here. We don't need Equinox because his deck doesn't get really hit by Equinox, and Crescent is like an anti-aggro tool. His deck isn't really aggressive either. So I'm totally happy to play for like a Moonsilver there and maybe try to get an aggressive Zoe flip. We have a play for next turn, which is Zap, so we're not going to Pool Shark yet. I'll Pool Shark probably on turn 5, going into 6. So yeah, we can develop wider, a bit more elusives. This gives us the 2 mana we need for a touch again, or Hush. Perfect. BBG said make it deal 4 damage instead of 5. Yeah, and that's basically, that's pretty much what I agree with. Like, wait. When you said make it 4, do you mean make it, or make it require 4 to get shuffled instead of 3? Or do you mean make it deal 4 damage instead of 5? Pack your bags fleeting so you can't hold it up and keep your opponent locked down. So from like a mechanical standpoint, that's actually probably like one of the best solutions. Like from like kind of the way players will play out the game, it's a good suggestion. I don't think it would end up making sense at like lower levels of play though. So, I mean, he'll probably just drag whatever he wants to drag. I wouldn't mind hitting Crescent and protecting the Zoe here. We do want to keep the Zoe a threat. I mean, unless we want to Hush that, we can't protect Zoe. Honestly, he has no way to deal with Zoe, and like we're pretty dominant here. I unironically think I do just Hush that. Like, if he can't deal with the Zoe, I do just kind of win. It's kind of weird, but like we know his deck at 3 mana won't really have a way to punish this by killing the Zoe this turn anyway. And yeah, I can play 1 charger here, I think. I mean, I do want to like not let this 5 hit me. We'll see. And I'll happily like Moonsilver Pool Shark this turn. So he doesn't even attack with a 5, which is kind of even better for me. And this Messenger can hit me all day, every day. I don't really care. I'm lifestealing it back anyway. That was a weird attack. He should have attacked with at least the 5/5 for sure. Like he knows I would have Pale blocked, but that would have been worth it for him to get out. And he correctly read that we had Pale, but it doesn't mean you don't attack there. So in this case, our Zoe, yeah, I mean, I don't even need to Moonsilver now because like I wanted to Pool Shark. I expected I would be forced to Moonsilver to Pale that turn, but now I totally don't need to. This is pretty perfect, and yeah, I'm just trying to level up Zoe next turn, and that should be very doable. Sketcher will help me level that up further. Sleepy Bubble Trouble, I think that's gonna do a good job. I could open attack. I mean, I do need to protect the Zoe. I think there's kind of no reason to open attack here. He could like Hush Zoe if I open attack and then block her. So yeah, let's just go ahead and do this. Pretty happy to Messenger here. We haven't played a Messenger yet, so it works well enough with Zoe's level up. So yeah, basically to be able to attack with Zoe, we need to be able to try to level her up. It's kind of interesting. If he had Hush, it might have been proper for him to Hush the Zoe now before we could have leveled that up. That's very interesting. At this point, I probably just attack kind of wide here. I think I just do something like this. I want to make room for Dog. I don't want to attack with Zoe, and I don't really want to pre-commit a lot of spells. He should be incentivized to trade down this charger. And I think in this case, I don't mind, because I do want to make room for Dog anyway. I do want my board to be full. Pretty sure we just let this happen exactly like this. Looks good. Did you try Alan's mill deck? No, I didn't. Oh, you mean the one he made at the very start? The one that wasn't actually a mill deck? Oh, I definitely didn't try that one. Oh, God, no. Like a Sunbeam to kill the Zoe, right? Okay, so yeah, he couldn't have chained that with Hush. So, this is kind of perfect. I think I'm pretty happy to just Pilfered Goods this, right? Like, just Moonsilver Pilfered Goods. That seems kind of like the best play. Don't think we have to do anything weird. Like, the only thing that matters is Zoe levels up and we don't commit as much as possible. And this Pilfered Good feels fine. The question is, in this meta, are there things that we specifically just wouldn't be able to gain value out of stealing from the opponent's deck? And there's not a ton right now. Like, obviously taking Go Hard out of their deck is pretty bad. So Zoe's leveled, which means her permanent effect sticks to the board. This gives everything lifesteal, right? It doesn't really matter at this point. Like, we can't really lose, I think. Oh yeah, I could run like 1 Spell Thief in this. Spell Thief isn't counted as a draw, so it kind of doesn't really work for TF. I think this deck is probably a little too tight to fit in Spell Thief. Can you name a more diverse meta than we have now? It depends exactly on your benchmark for diversity. There was probably one. There was like a 2-week period where I think it was where like Sejuani was starting to pick up. They nerfed like all the tier 1 decks. And it was like, it took like 2 weeks at least for people to figure out like what the new decks were gonna be. I mean, I could kill that, but it also really doesn't matter, right? I guess this might force out a Hush. I'm kind of actually happy forcing him to Hush this Ashe Sejuani meta. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to even name the meta because there were a lot of different decks flying around, but it was like Sejuani, where Sejuani started to make sense as a card, I think, if I remember correctly. That was very diverse. I think that was probably a bit more diverse than right now, but yeah, we've got a very diverse meta right now. Okay, forced out the Hush. Pretty happy with that. It seems kind of weird because I traded like 3 cards for his 1, but these 3 cards all drew me more cards, and they're not things that, like Guiding Touch, for example, I don't need that trigger. It's not really doing anything. So next turn we can go ahead and TF plus Zap. That'll give everything elusive and just start threatening the clock there. I mean, we're winning this game. Pre-release beta meta was more diverse. It actually wasn't, I think. I mean, it's sort of a funny thing to say because like that's kind of a true. It's like, yeah, technically it's like when, you know, when the game was super new and nobody knew how anything worked, it was kind of more diverse, but I don't even know if that's true. What is TF really accomplishing? Whatever. I mean, we level Zoe, so we're just ahead. I think this Nab direction could actually be pretty good here, guys. Honestly. Like, no joke, it looks pretty solid. You trolled? Yeah. I mean, I lost 1 charge on my TF. You got me. He's used both of his Solar Priestess cards, right? Which means he can't threaten my TF for 2 mana, which means I can do this. Whee! Lose elusive TF? Yeah, you're right. I can't block his elusive Zoe next turn with my TF. True. Big true, guys. So we want to curve low to the ground. Mentor. Yeah, I definitely don't want 3 Mentor. For sure, I don't want 3 Mentor. This will probably force out a Deny, which I actually don't really like. My mana point is not really worth forcing a Deny here. I mean, this TF really doesn't matter. I think I just play for mana efficiency. Let my TF die. Like, his Challenger doesn't matter, my TF doesn't matter. Nothing matters here except for killing him next turn with a big elusive board that he can't stop. And, I mean, we're doing that. So right now, the odds of him having Deny on that palm were too high. And the upside of keeping TF alive is hilariously just at an all-time low right now. There's basically 0 upside to keeping TF alive right now. So, one thing about Nab is that Nab, you know, back in the day, we were running like warning shots. We were running like warning shots and jagged butchers to kind of like more reliably get Nab off. And I will say, like, there will be board states where like the Nab has to stay on our board for a little bit of time before it gets used. I think I still like it better than Shadestalker though. Sure. Why did the 2/2 not get elusive lifesteal? Because it's not retroactive. It only gives you things when you play. It's like it gives all of your units a deployability that shares keywords, basically. And again, I don't think his Canned can even like really punish me for tapping under here. So I think I can goat first too. Yeah, this is a problem with Ionia Targon is it doesn't really run disruption tools, which is really weird, right? Because you would think that those spell heavy regions would actually have disruption tools, but they don't really have disruption. Like, they don't really deal damage. They stop attacks and they... Ooh, okay, so we can kill my Zap here. They stop attacks and they stop spells, but they don't really disrupt, like, a majority of game states. Like, even, like, Single Combat is a disruptive card. They really just stop spells. They have stall tools? Yeah. Exactly. They don't really, like, kill things. Okay. So, I mean, I don't think he can survive this elusive attack here. I don't know. I guess, you know what? He probably is running Star Shaping. He probably is about to get a really fat Star Shaping here. Well, that's true. I have to, like, pre-hush the Karma. So he can't, like, get that much health back. Yeah, it could be a little bit awkward. I mean, open attacking isn't really great here. I think I probably need to develop into this attack as well. He doesn't run a lot of development punishers. He could just have like a slightly different elusive mentor just to like buff my Eye of the Dragon. I don't really hate that. Our goal right now is very simple. We're just maximizing our damage. Nothing else matters. We might have needed to aggressively push a bit more damage. I kind of like part of the reason why, for example, I didn't try to protect the TF. Karma created the skies descend. Are you fucking kidding me? We're getting 2 gems. Bastion and Pale. Pale? Pale to stop the 15 damage to all allies? Guys, he's got an elusive blocker. Am I getting trolled here? What do you mean Bastion and Pale? Am I missing something? Our win condition is like Sketcher stuff, not Bastion and Pale. It's probably, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter too much what I discard here, right? He can't get Hush. He doesn't have enough mana for that.
Hey, what you got there?
Alright, nice. Paulman play elusive would have just won? What elusive? I would have had 2 mana left. How do I get 4 elusive damage with 2 mana? Oh, I see what you're saying. You use the palm afterwards on the butterfly. Is that better? Does that play around more things? Because it gives me exactly 4 damage. I think isn't that worse than what I did? It was a different way of getting like Twitch chat lethal though.